Morning, Neil.
Morning.
What was the dressing room like after that win on Saturday?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Obviously, there was a lot of tension over the last few weeks because we played quite well. Most of the games, I think, apart from sort of the last hour against Man City, I think we've been in most games this season, and so it's been disappointing not to have got more points on board. But they've never let their heads drop. I've got to give them credit. They bounced back from all the knocks they've had, and I thought the second half just epitomised what we were like, in the fact that we give nothing away and we always entertained. We went forward together and crowd got behind us. It was a great second 45 minutes, really.
You said you gave nothing away. You talked a lot about how mistakes have cost you up until this point. So was it rewarding to see that those mistakes weren't happening so much on Saturday?
I think the first half we did make mistakes. Well, I can't say it was a mistake, the first goal. I mean, that was a worldie, really. But the second goal, one or two lads just let the concentration drop for a second. But overall, I thought after the half-time talk, we were really strong in all areas, at the back, into midfield, and further forward. I thought we made it count. We could have scored a few more, but it was good to see the fourth one going, where you could relax for 2 or 3 minutes at least.
To be out of the bottom three, psychologically, how big is that?
Well, it's always nice to be out of the bottom three, but you always know that you might be back in the bottom three. Especially this weekend when we're playing Liverpool. So it's never far from your thought. You're always looking at the top, the bottom sort of 8-9 clubs. I think everybody would be doing the same, even if they say they're not really. But it is not. It just shows you how we've not played badly, and we get one result that's gone our way, and we're up there, and another couple of results, and you don't know where you are. So it's an important part of the season now up to Christmas. I think after tomorrow's game, we've played everybody in the top 6. Then we've only got, I think, Manchester United to play in December. So we've had a tough run of fixtures, but I think the crowd have been the biggest plus for us. The whole crowd, the whole city seems to have got behind us. It's almost like a crusade. It's been very special this season.
Is there a renewed sense of optimism then after this win? Has it sort of changed the complexion of the start of the season? Would you say that's how big that win was last weekend?
I think at any club that gets promoted, and you look at the odds and things like that from day one. Really, we're supposed to finish right at the very bottom before a ball was kicked. So I suppose you're bound to think a bit like that, and especially when we haven't spent the sort of money that our rivals have. But I'm not. It's not necessarily you can have money, but it might not do anything for you. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna win things or stay up. So I think it's just a matter of looking after ourselves, really. And it's what was nice for me last week is, Murphy and Reid have been my big signing sort of thing, and they've not really peanuts in comparison with everyone else, but. You can't just come into the Premier League when you're a young lad like that. You take some adjusting, really. And I've seen over the last few weeks a little bit more maturity from both of them. And I think that helps us, really, in the situation, because it's a whole new, different ball game, the Premiership. But I've been really pleased with one or two lads, how they've grown up. So, Patterson as well has shown his maturity as well. So the three of them have been a plus, and it was lovely to see Gunnarsson back, just to give us that voice on the field, really.
Liverpool unbeaten this season at that fashion Red Star Belgrade midweek. How big a task is to go to Anfield and get anything?
Well, it's massive, isn't it? It's virtually impossible for any team in the current game. I think the front three is probably the best front three around the world, really, in a team. But we're playing quite well. I think we can cause problems. That's the thing. You've got to go there and believe that you can. We've all got to play to the top of our potential to give them a good game and hope that they have a bit of an off day. That's all you can do, really. But I know the lads are looking forward to it. I mean, it's not every day you go to Anfield, and it's a special place in football. I think Anfield. I've been there a few times, and it is a remarkable place. It's I've got some decent memories and some disappointments there.
And Jurgen Klopp, have you had many dealings with him? Do you know him much, and what do you make of him?
Not really. I just like the way that he is, really. He cares, he's passionate, and, pulls some faces, doesn't he? He's got everything, really. I mean, it must be lovely to be in charge of a team like that, but he's created it. They haven't always been like that. He saw what weaknesses there were in the last 2 years, and he's shored that up this year. Yes, he spent big money, but at that level, you saw how much they made yesterday in the Champions League last year. So, they've already paid for most of the players they signed. It's he's an exceptional manager. We're very lucky to have, the managers that we have in the what is the best league in the world. Got some cracking managers around.
The front three of Sané. Let's start again. The front three of Mane, rather. Salah and Firmino. How do you even try and stop them?
Well, I think if those three were injured, the next three aren't bad either. I don't. It's you saw the other night. The movement is, you can't. You can only do so much as a manager. The coaches. You've sometimes got to take your hat off. I was the same the other night watching Arsenal in the second half. I thought, well, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Are you with me? You forgot that they should have been 3 down, had a penalty against them in the first half. But they were so good, and Liverpool are like that. They can put people to bed within a matter of minutes. And the top teams, like Man City did to us, 2 in a minute. You can never take your eye off the ball. So you've got to hope that your lads are really, really concentrating and up for it, and that we can give them a good run for the money.
I saw this stat this morning that Cardiff haven't won back-to-back top-flight league games since 1962. So you can break that stat at some point this season. Well,
I think some point this season, yeah. I think if you look at the bookies' odds for tomorrow's game, it's highly unlikely tomorrow. But as I was saying, some people kindly sent me some odds. I think we were 50-1 to win 1-0, and I think Liverpool were. We were 70-1 to win 1-0, and in one of them, and 50-1 Liverpool were to beat us 7-1. So it was a little mixture of the bookies. I just think it'll be a great time for tomorrow for the fans. Where we were 18 months ago, 2 years now, isn't it? To see where we go into Anfield with a sellout away support. It's very special. All around the town is buzzing, and wherever you go, people are talking about the next match. It's an exciting place to be, and they know that the boys are giving everything for the cause. And at least when you're a supporter paying hard-earned money, the minimum you want is your team to give everything, and they know we are limited, but we are giving our best.
And they played Red Star Belgrade midweek, and football can be about marginal gains, can't it? Do you think that will have any impact on their showing tomorrow? I mean, you've had more rest. Is it going to make any difference?
I don't think so. Not with the top players. I think somebody said to me they might rest Salah. I said, what? And he's got a chance of scoring 5 or 6 goals against us. I think he'd want to play, don't you? It's one of those things. I think players are at that level. They're ready to have a couple of days rest and off they go again. And I don't expect too many changes, if I'm honest.
What about you? Will you make any changes? How are you in terms of sort of injuries?
Yeah, we've had a couple of little problems this week, but as I say, I won't know till later on. We're definitely going to have to make at least one change, but we'll have to see if there's any more later on today. Really, when I look at the list that comes out from the physio's room.
Just away from tomorrow's game, finally, the International Board of the FA are considering banning substitutions when it's over 90 minutes and you're into injury time at the end of a game, I guess supposedly to stop time wasting. What do you think of that?
I'm all for it, yeah. It doesn't bother me that. I think at times it's abused, but that's, managers, you can't blame them, can you, really, for doing that? I think that you've got to look at things. They're always looking at things, aren't they? They've got to justify the position, haven't they? Last week, we talked about one of our games. I think it was a Burnley game, wasn't it? About ball in play, etc. But you play against different opponents. Last week, I thought You know, our goals, nobody mentioned that none of our goals were free kicks last week. Are you with me? And yeah, if there were 4 scored from long throws and free corner kicks, it would be all over the papers. It's amazing how people twist things. You know, last week I mentioned I wouldn't bet on us. And unfortunately, some national newspapers forgot to put the second part of the quote in regarding I didn't bet last year on us getting promotion. So, you know, I got some stick for saying that because they didn't read the full quote. So it's disappointing for managers when you get stitched up like that from the media, but I'm afraid you do expect it from some tabloids.
And if you were 1-0 up tomorrow at Anfield in the 90th minute and you had another substitution to make?
I'd make 5. If I could.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay.
Just on the team news you mentioned there, and you mentioned Aaron Gunnarson's return. Is he at a point where he can play in successive weeks now? Do you find?
Well, he's been very good, really, for me, really, because I asked him to try and get ready for the Fulham game, sort of 4 weeks ago, and you know, at the moment we don't expect him to be finishing a game. But if he can get through the games, it's more important than training at the moment for us because we are a bit thin. So tomorrow, if he can give us another 65, 70 minutes, I'll be delighted.
And looking at the game against Liverpool, Bobby Reid last week said that he's a Liverpool fan, that he's really looking forward to playing at Anfield. Have you had that before with your players? Is that more an inspiration or a distraction in your experience?
Not really. I mean, if you support a club, you want to go back there, don't you, as a player? And at the top level, it's you could see how much it meant to Bobby last week scoring a goal, you know. And those moments you can't put a price on, really. And that's what we're all in it for, moments like that. And I think it just shows you what happens in football. You know, Kadeem Harris wasn't anywhere near my team last week. He scores a goal in the Premier League, you know, and 6 weeks ago he wants to leave. You know, that's how things go, isn't it? You know, because he's not getting a game, and yet he won't forget that ever in his lifetime, will he? You know, so I'm pleased. He worked really hard, Kadeem, to come back in. And I said to him, the only way you're going to get back in my plans, son, is working hard. And he's been probably the best trainer in the last few weeks at the club, and he's got his reward last week. So I'm delighted for him.
Thinking of that Liverpool game as well, I know it was probably slightly tongue-in-cheek, but last season you said Sol Bamba is a better defender than Virgil van Dijk. I guess we'll find out.
I think I'd been drinking, if I'm honest. I must have had a few drinks. But the thing is, if Van Dijk was in our team, you'd see if he was a good defender. He doesn't have to defend that much in Liverpool's team because they're usually in the other half. So it's a little bit it's different for certain teams and certain games and things. It's same with tackles and sending offs. They're different in some areas for some teams than others, it appears.
Is that the other challenge of facing Liverpool this season? They seem to be that little bit more solid defensively. Do you expect a different game to maybe if you played them last season when they were firing on all cylinders?
I think they've improved, haven't they, with the players they've brought in, you know. I mean, Van Dijk, I'm delighted that he's playing like he is because, you know, I don't know whether I told you in one of my earlier things that we could have bought him at Palace for $6 million, but my chief scout said he was too slow. I think he's still in a job as well. So, you know, it just shows you what opinion's about, really.
And just with that in mind, with that defensive solidity, I know they've only won some games narrowly recently. Think of that Huddersfield match last weekend. Can you take any encouragement from those kind of games that they can be frustrated to a certain extent?
No, I think you can take encouragement because if you're Huddersfield or Cardiff, you know you've got a chance against all these teams, especially at home. It's more difficult away from home. But that's why everybody loves the Premier League, because nobody actually knows what's around the corner in the Premier League, and I think that's what makes it special. So yeah, you know, like I said, we've got to hope that they have an off day tomorrow, but that doesn't work. You know, that doesn't work very often. So we'll have to be at our best to get a decent result.
And just finally from me, I was wondering if I could ask for a word on Callum Paterson as well. He's been playing up front. I know he made a very good habit of scoring goals in the Championship last season. He seems to have found that scoring touch again in the Premier League.
Well, if that had been one of the top teams, his goal last week, they would have been raving about it because people said it was a scrappy goal. But when you look at it, it's a poacher's goal. It's a goal-scoring goal. the third goal, which was the most important goal. And it's not just that, it's the way he's been leading the line. You know what you're going to get. All I want is people giving me everything, and at the moment he's the best option. And when I did sign him as a fullback a couple of years ago, I remember asking Vincent, just let me have 300 grand for this lad, will you? It's a gamble, but I think you'll get your money back. And when I spoke to Callum, we were talking about his when he was young, and he was he was 17. He scored a couple of goals for Dundee in one of the games, and he played up front, and his manager was convinced he was a striker, and that's where he played all his junior football, up front. So he's got natural attributes. He's one of those lads that what's the saying, jack of all trades and master of none, and it gets criticised at times, but I think all strikers at some stage will get criticised, because you've got to remember, I was a winger, and the easiest people to have a go at were wingers, as I remember, because you've got to create. Every time you get a ball, you've got to create something. When you're a big lump of a defender or a full-back, all you've got to do is stop people. So it's a lot more difficult to create time and time for strikers, and that's why I've always got time for my strikers and my wingers. I always slaughter the Bambas of this world and that in training, because anybody could be a big lump of a defender, can't they?